Hi friends, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today I'm so excited to be showing you Fauve's Impressionism 2.0 collection. You might remember me sharing their first Impressionism collection early last month, and those shades definitely were a lot lighter and softer. The majority of these, as you can tell, definitely skew a little bit darker. We have 2 glow-in-the-dark shades, 4 magnetics, and 2 toppers in this lineup, and I will also be reviewing 3 of their Impressionism cuticle oils as well. So as always, timestamps for everything are in the description box down below. But for now, let's just get into the swatches. The first shade we have is Lotus Blossom, and this is a bubblegum pink crelly with aqua to green to pink aurora shimmer, delicate hollow, and a glow-in-the-dark orange pigment. This one had a fantastic formula. It was just so smooth and easy to apply, very self-leveling and even coverage on the first coat. It is just a little bit sheer. I thought it built up really beautifully in 2 coats where I could definitely wear this into. I know that's not for everybody though. It depends on how much visible nail line you prefer seeing, so if you aren't okay with it, you can do a 3rd coat and it's basically fully opaque. No surprise, I absolutely love this one. I think it's such a cute base color and I love the shimmer in here. And here it is in the dark, so you can see the glow in the dark effect. I definitely thought it had a pretty good and even glow, especially considering I only lit it for about a minute. The other glow-in-the-dark in the collection is Glimmering Waters, and this one is described as having a violet blue jelly base, blue to violet shifting aurora shimmer, pink and aqua sparkles, pink and aqua reflective glitter, and violet, blue, and aqua iridescent flakies. So definitely a lot going on in this polish, but it is so beautiful. This one also had a fantastic formula. It was just so fluid and smooth to apply, very even coverage as well. As expected with a jelly base, the first coat was a little bit sheer, but you saw just how packed it was with all of those sparkly elements, so it built up really beautifully. I would say almost fully opaque in just 2 coats. This one has a dark blue glow-in-the-dark pigment, which was a little harder to capture on camera. Next up we have Water Lilies, and this one is described as a pastel green to pink magnetic with a blue to purple shimmer and various multicolor iridescent flakies. I'm not sure how I would describe the base color. I guess I would say it's kind of taupey, maybe a little bit more gray leaning, but the magnetic shimmer and like the background shimmer and the flakies in this just make it glow and really bring this polish to life. I thought it was so incredibly beautiful, so shifty, easily one of my favorites from this lineup. I almost forgot to mention, the formula was also a dream. It just applied so well and it had great coverage on just 2 coats alone. And even though it looks so glowy in the velvet effect here, I think I prefer it with a cat eye. The next shade we have is Sunset Skies, and this one is described as having a violet blue base, pink to copper to gold pastel magnetic shimmer, a violet blue aurora background shimmer, and micro flakies. This one had another super smooth, easy to apply formula, surprisingly a little bit more sheer than the last polish, which I wasn't expecting, so I could see a little more nail line here on 2 coats, but it does get more obscured if you do a 3rd coat, especially if you're going in with the cat eye effect. For the unmagnetized and velvet looks, I just did 2 coats and I feel like you can't really see much nail line, but maybe that's just me. This one has a more subtle look, which I thought was nice. I definitely prefer this with the velvet effect. Next we have Lily Pad, and this is a sheer olive base with a pastel green to aqua magnetic shimmer and a pink to red to purple aurora shimmer outside of that. As I'm sure you can tell, this was unfortunately my least favorite from the collection. Definitely one of those prugly shades that I just don't think works for me personally, but I do love and appreciate the vision. I think it works, just not for me. This one had a similar formula to the last shade where it was more on the sheer side, so I definitely would recommend doing 3 coats for this one, especially if you don't like any visible nail line. I do really love the green magnetic shimmer in this though. It was just so strong and so glowy. And the last magnetic we have is Evening Mist, which is a violet blue base with a subtle pastel green to aqua to violet shifting magnetic pigment, violet to blue to green shifting aurora shimmer, blue violet microflakes, and a silver and lavender holo. I really love this one. I feel like you just can't go wrong with a purple base and a blue shimmer. It is just so pretty. This one also had a really lovely formula that was the most pigmented of the magnetics. So I got this fully opaque, or close enough to be fully opaque, in just 2 coats alone. I had a hard time deciding which was my favorite between the velvet and the cat eye, so let me know what your favorite is. Moving on to the toppers, the first one we have is Butterfly Garden Scarlet, and this is a clear base filled with red, pink, purple, and silver holographic butterfly glitters and various red, orange, pink, purple, and iridescent hex glitters. This one had more or less a very similar formula to the original Butterfly Garden, so it was a little bit more base heavy. Definitely some manipulation is required to get the glitters where you want them. The butterfly glitters also have a tendency to sink, so I would recommend flipping the bottle upside down for a minute or two just so it's easier to fish them out and get them on your nail. I only gave this a good shake before swatching it over my bare nail, which is why I got 1 butterfly, but again, after flipping it upside down, I was able to get 2 or even 3 on my nail. And the last topper rounding out the whole collection is Butterfly Garden Morpho, which is a clear base with iridescent blue, green, and silver holographic butterfly glitters and various blue, green, and aqua and iridescent micro glitters. I personally felt that this one was a little bit heavier on the iridescent micro glitters, which I did think were really pretty. I don't know if that's like actually true or not, or it just was the application this time around, but as expected, the formula is the same as the previous polish, so again, I would just recommend flipping it upside down to fish a little bit more for those butterflies. Getting into comparisons, we're starting with Lotus Blossom, and I knew I had to see this next to On the Seine from the first Impressionism collection. That one is a thermal, so in the warm state as seen here, it's a little bit more of that orchid kind of pink where it has like a drop of purple in it, but it also has a violet shimmer instead of blue, so not dupes. I was also reminded of these 2 Mooncat shades. We have a Midsummer's Dream on the left and Aphrodisiac on the right, both of which are soft, bubblegum, pink kind of crelly bases, but the shimmer in Midsummer's Dream is blue, while it's more of that purpley color in Aphrodisiac. And the shimmer in both of the Mooncats are more like finely milled, so they're still not exact dupes, but I think it's closer to Aphrodisiac. For some more pink with blue shimmer comparisons, I have Cirque's True Love's First Kiss and Cracked Polish's Feed Me Treats. The Cirque has more of like a jelly base and it's a little bit more muted or mauve-y. I thought the base color of Cracked was going to be a lot similar, but that one's a little bit lighter or maybe just more sheer, and it also has a pearlescent kind of glow, but I think the shimmer in Cirque looks kind of similar, but I still wouldn't call them dupes. Lastly, I figured I could try to recreate Lotus Blossom, so I started by using Cracked Polish's Bubblegum Yum Yum as my base because I thought it was a close enough pink, and I layered it with Alchemy's Champ, which is kind of an aqua blue micro shimmer. The base was a little too warm though, so then I tried it with She Doesn't Even Go Here to get more of that whitened pink color, but that unfortunately was a little too light. The closest potential dupe I could think of, unfortunately, is not in my collection, but it reminded me a lot of ILNP's Open Skies from the Cloud 9 collection. I think ILNP is a little bit more sheer, and it also doesn't glow in the dark. Next, for Glimmering Waters, I knew I had to show this next to Twinkling Tides and Transient Light, both of which were from the first Impressionism collection. I would say that Twinkling Tides has a closer finish because it's a jelly base with shimmer and reflective glitter and microflake, but it is a little bit more blue, while Transient Light is a little bit deeper and more purple. That one's also a thermal, which I kind of forgot about, so the warm state here is not close at all. And here it is next to Monet from the First Impressionism collection, which is a little bit too light, more on the periwinkle side. And it also just has a blue shimmer. There's no other like reflective glitters or iridescent flakies. And I also have Mooncat's Misery is my favorite color on the right there, which I thought was going to be closer color-wise, but that is just way too dark. So I figured to lighten it up, I could just do a layer of Monet on top of that. And while it is a pretty combination, it's not enough to be a dupe. Next up for water lilies, I thought the closest that I had was Sassy Sauce's A Comet's Tail, which has a taupey base, but that's a little bit on the warmer side. Maybe it's not even taupe and it's more of like an antique gold kind of color compared to the more grayish base of water lilies. And I figured I could also show it next to Mooncat's La Petite Mort because that has like a silvery base with a blue shimmer as well as iridescent flakies, but I definitely wouldn't call them dupes by any means. If anything, I think the green shimmer in Sassy Sauce is a little bit closer to water lilies, but not dupes for me. Next for Sunset Skies, I didn't have a magnetic to match this, but I wanted to show some shimmers because color-wise at least they were kind of close. The first one I thought of was Holo Taco's Camera Shy because it has a bright pinkish kind of shimmer, but the base in that is a little bit too gray, like too much of a dusty purple. But I would say that Mooncat's Such Sweet Sorrow is a bit closer color-wise, especially when it comes to the shimmer, but the shimmer in Mooncat is larger and the base is a little bit more blue. Next for Lily Pad, I was immediately reminded of Cracked Polish's Fugly Muck, which was recently retired. That one is just a shimmer though, so there's no magnetic effect to it. But I would say that they are kind of similar, definitely like sibling polishes. The base in Cracked is more yellow leaning, like more of a true or brighter chartreuse. Then for Evening Mist, I wanted to see this next to Holo Taco's Moonlit Rodeo, which just came out in the Disco Cowboy collection. Like the previous comparisons, I just don't have other magnetics that are close to the Fauve ones, so I'm just doing like shimmer color comparisons. So while Moonlit Rodeo does have a purple base with a blue shimmer, the purple base is much warmer and red toned. I think Fauve's shimmer is more glowy too. Some other cooler purple toned bases with blue shimmer are Mooncat's The Glory of Innocence, which does have like a linear hollow effect, but I feel like that's most noticeable in direct sunlight. And I also wanted to show this next to Mooncat's Siren's Deceit, which is a little bit more sheer and a little bit more red toned than Evening Mist, so I wouldn't call any of these dupes. And the last couple of shades that I thought might be close were Cirque's Nocturne on the left and Pixie Holo on the right. Pixie Holo is definitely the closest as far as the base color, where it's kind of like a dark periwinkle sort of shade. Nocturne is a little too blue leaning, but that one does have a blue shimmer, so it matches Evening Mist more than the green shimmer in Pixie Holo. So Evening Mist is like kind of an in-between of these two. And lastly, I just wanted to show the Butterfly Garden collection here. The original is in the middle, which has a more pastel colorway, mainly featuring lavender and aqua kind of colors, so the other two are much more vibrant. So that wraps up my swatches and comparisons of Fauve's Impressionism 2.0 collection. As always, I can't wait to hear what you think of this release, if you like it more or less than the first one. In general, I did think these were really beautiful shades. I obviously have some top favorites like Lotus Blossom, Glimmering Waters, and Water Lilies, but there are some shades that I didn't care for as much, which again is just a personal preference when it comes to like the color. It has nothing to do with the polishes themselves. I think overall though, I do prefer the first collection. I think that whole lineup just felt so like made for me. So it's gonna be hard to top that one for me personally. But again, I did think a lot of these were just so pretty. I did really love the cuticle oils from the Impressionism collection though. I have 3 of them here. The first one is Adagio with scent notes of white orchid, vanilla, and sandalwood. Then we have have Spring Water Lily with Lemon, Water Lotus, and Rosehip. And lastly, this one is my favorite. It's called Pirouette with Almond Milk, Bergamot, and Manuka Honey. I really, really love this one especially, but overall, I did actually enjoy these three more than the first three that I tried. Fauve has a ton of different scents on her website, so if none of these like interested you, there might be something else that you would like there. I don't think I mentioned it in my first review, but the oil itself is just a very simple blend of jojoba and vitamin E, the very basic ingredients that you would need in a cuticle oil. Technically, all you need is like 100% jojoba, but obviously with shopping from brands, they're gonna introduce like other ingredients or scents. That's probably the biggest appeal. As I've mentioned before, my nails tend to be thin and like prone to peeling, especially on my right hand. And with cuticle oil, you're gonna see better results the more often you're applying it. So if you're using it, you know, 3 to 4 times a day, you're gonna have great results within a week. But more often than not, I am honestly applying like once or twice a day. So obviously the, you know, prone to peeling is like my own fault. If I do apply more often, I'm not gonna have that issue. But because that's just how I am, I usually find that more simple oils that are like just jojoba or jojoba and vitamin E don't really do as much for me, at least compared to other brands that have like a blend of oils, if that makes sense. So basically, if you love reapplying cuticle oil like upwards of 3 times a day, or if your nails are already healthy and you're just looking for like a maintenance oil, I think the Fauve ones would be really great for you. So again, make sure to let me know any and all thoughts that you have down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!